Composite Presence is in a way a collage of knowledge about designing the city, about operating within the context of cities in Flanders, in Belgium. About 20 years. I think that the oldest projects are around 20 years old, but they're also very recent projects. So it's in a way a compilation of interventions we think are very valuable to look at how architecture and urbanism relate and work together in Flanders.
And what is specific about this condition, architecture, urbanism in Flanders and Brussels?
Yes, I think we all know cities in Belgium, in Flanders, they're a little bit mixed. There's some anarchy at play. They're not very neat. They don't have a strong conditioning in terms of urbanism like Amsterdam or Paris has. But within that weak underlayer, we see that architecture actually kind of profits and takes joy and energy out of the quirky situations, the funny scale jumps, the strange plots, the mix of functions. It's a very rich ecology, and if you zoom into the projects which handle that city successfully and you compile them together, you get a rather unique and fascinating result.
So here what we see is existing projects, and you made a new cityscape. In what kind of tradition do you want to position yourself then?
Yes, we've called it a capriccio, and a capriccio in the tradition of Canaletto is the idea of taking buildings from different places and making a montage of them to create a city which is even better, even more fascinating, but also a city which is highly realistic. It's not a utopian idea. The capriccio is very pragmatic and down to earth. It's very concrete, it's very real, but it's also a dream. It's also an idea of being able to take the best of what is produced in the city and to bring it together into something exciting, which I think for doing this in Venice is quite relevant.
Indeed. And then, the experience of walking here in the exhibition is of course amazing because of the tactility, the detailing. Also, we don't see any people, but the suggestion of life is there. You can see some of the interiors, the windows, the balconies. Is this for you a next step in how you like to communicate architecture and how you want to represent architecture?
Yes, that's interesting what you say, because there are many ways to talk about the city, about architecture, and many of them are analytic, are schematic, hypothetical, but in ways which have a more technological or scientific nature. But I think eventually the city is about many things at once. It's a simultaneity of program, form, function, matter, life. So I think the models in a way try to be all those things together and talk about all those things together and not about just some aspects.
Is this maybe an answer to what the curator of the exhibition of La Biennale this year is asking us? How will we live together?
Yes, the capriccio is also an idea of, how do we make cities together? How does architecture and the ideas of different architects work together, in complement, in an exciting mix of surprise, but also an element of convention and discipline. So this is really, how we look at it. And I think walking into this space, the question, has an answer. How we live together well, maybe like this.
Is it correct that the city of the future is actually the city that we already know?
Yes, exactly. Certainly, the Belgian city is a city of simultaneities. It's not a city of zones and areas. It's a city of a high level of mix and overlayering. It's very much palimpsest. Also, from a more technological perspective, if you ask a climate scientist what architects need to do in the near future, it is all about, adapting the city, making it more resilient, retrofitting. We have a lot of older projects which are retrofits also in this show. So in a way, the city of the future is just in front of us. It's not some utopian dream outside of what we know.